We did get to see my brother's murderer for the first time, and I felt something lifted up off of my heart.
No decision yet on Michael Slager's bond, plus how a local school is grieving the loss of one of its own. WNBF News at 7 is next.
Live, local, late breaking. This is WNBF News at 7.
Good evening, I'm LisaGresci. This is WNBF News at 7. A 16-year-old girl is dead after a crash on Highway 31 this morning. It happened near Highway 22. The Horry County Coroner's Office identified the victim as Malaya Heyman from Loris. All northbound lanes of 31 and one southbound lane were blocked for several hours after the accident. Just a few hours ago, that girl's classmates at the Academy for Technology and Academics received the news of her passing. New at 7, Connor McHugh is at that school right now with how the faculty is helping the girl's friends. Connor. Our thoughts are certainly with Malaya's family right now. A North Carolina man is in custody and charged in connection with the deadly hit-and-run accident in Surfside Beach back in June. The crash involved a moped. It happened on June 11th. The victim was 63-year-old Billy Whalen. Now Surfside Beach police tell WNBF News Dylan Walker Shook of Claremont is charged with leaving the scene of a collision involving death. He is being held at J. Reuben Long Detention Center. Over the last few minutes, the South Robeson Rescue Unit's ambulance became available for service calls in Fairmont. Now it needs qualified and trained EMTs to make sure it can successfully serve the area. Contact the rescue unit if you're interested in signing up. Horry County is short millions of dollars because of a service it's providing, but they're working on it right now to make sure the county doesn't keep bleeding this cash. More details from Horry County tonight. Thousands of surveys will be sent out as part of the county's strategic plan. This will be your chance to weigh in on the services you use and the services you need. The survey will give the county an overall look at where it is as a whole and data that will help it plan for the future. The results will be discussed in November.
The whole process will probably take about 6 months to complete, but it will actually look at how we want to move forward with our community within the next 3, possibly 5 years.
Horry County Police are investigating 2 Carolina Forest high school students after authorities found pornographic images on the students' cell phones. Last Friday, an assistant principal told police the images were being sent between several students. A police report shows the 2 students sent at least 35 pictures. We've posted this story on the live links page on WNBFnews.com. That's under the local tab, and it's a good place for you to find more details about many of the stories you see throughout the evening on WNBF News. There's also a special live links section on the WNBF News app. Another perk of downloading the app, you would have gotten an alert about this story before we were even on the air.
And not a bad looking evening right now in Florence. You notice just
tomorrow morning there will be a 9/11 ceremony of remembrance at the Unity Memorial in Myrtle Beach. It starts at 8:30. It was moved to the morning, so there could be a moment of silence at 8:46, the moment the first plane hit the World Trade Center. Katrina Helmer learned a lot more about tomorrow's event, along with the importance of remembering 9/11 14 years after the tragic events unfolded. Tune in tomorrow morning on WNBF News Today to see her stories. It starts at 5 a.m. And still to come at 7, another 9/11 ceremony in the Carolinas that is sure to display a powerful image. But first, reaction from outside the courthouse where no decision was made on Michael Slager's bond. And the men who represent you in Washington are reacting to the latest developments in the nuclear deal with Iran. After an afternoon in court, a former North Charleston police officer accused of murder will remain behind bars. A judge did not make a decision on whether to grant bond for Michael Slager. He's charged with fatally shooting 50-year-old Walter Scott back in April. His family was among many to react to today's decision in court. WNBF News reporter Will Whitson is following this developing story. Thank you for that update. Well, the Iran nuclear deal has survived a key vote in the Senate. It's a victory for President Barack Obama. Democrats held together to block a resolution of disapproval, and new tonight, your elected leaders are now reacting to the news. Representative Jim Clyburn released a statement today that read in part, "I support this deal because it is the best available option to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon, an outcome that all of us agree must be prevented." Senator Lindsey Graham saw it differently. He tweeted, "When they write this history of these times, they're going to look back and say President Obama was a weak opponent of evil and poor champion of freedom." And Senator Tim Scott had a tweet of his own. He said Senate Democrats are simply afraid to have a real debate on the issue, which shows just how weak the hashtag Bad Iran deal truly is. A woman found lifeless floating in the ocean in Myrtle Beach more than 2 years ago still hasn't been identified. It's a case really unlike anything the Horry County Coroner's Office has ever seen before. All that's known about the woman found in the water is what she may have looked like based on a composite sketch, what she was wearing at the time of her death, and a clear picture of a dolphin tattoo inked just above her ankle. Tonight, after the Steelers-Patriots game, a look at what has made the dolphin tattoo case cold, so hard for investigators to close, and why some believe this woman didn't live that far away from the Grand Strand, even though no one in our area has been able to identify her. Is this a bad state to raise your child in? One website says South Carolina is one of the worst for your baby. We'll explain why, new at 7. Plus, what you need to know if you're planning on heading to Columbia for Saturday's Gamecock football game. New at 7, South Carolina is one of the worst states to have a baby in. That's according to the website wallethub.com. The Palmetto State falls in 48th on the list. That also includes Washington, D.C. Here's a look at the bottom 5. The website took into account C-sections versus conventional deliveries, average annual infant care costs, infant death rate, the number of doctors available, and the number of child centers in each state. This is brand new video of a new street sign here in Myrtle Beach. It was put up in honor of Fallon Emery, a young local girl battling brain cancer. Myrtle Beach City Council approved a proclamation for Fierce Fallon Avenue. She was also presented with her own street sign. City leaders decided to rename a stretch of 38th Avenue North for the 11-year-old girl to show their support. Verizon is helping the teachers and students of Florence School District 1 improve STEM education. That's science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. The company donated $10,000 to the project Lead the Way, a program designed to improve those areas of study. Activity-based curriculum gives students in kindergarten through high school a chance to apply what they've learned to the real world. Also happening right now, the Myrtle Beach Pelicans are playing a do-or-die Southern Division Championship game. It's game 2 of the series against Winston-Salem. The Pelicans lost last night in a game 1 of 3-game series. A win means the two teams will play again tomorrow in a final deciding matchup. The winner of this series will advance to the Mills Cup Championship Series. We'll have the highlights tonight at 11. It's football night in America with just about an hour to the NFL season kickoff. We have the preview of tonight's big game. That's 3 minutes away on WMBF News at 7. This weekend, it's the first home game for the Gamecocks at Williams-Brice Stadium on Saturday. The stadium will have a lot of new upgrades. There will be more engraved bricks, hundreds of trees and flowers, new lights, and a completely new way to buy merchandise and tickets. And there will be George Rogers statues unveiled. If you're heading to the game, officials say it's important to arrive early, though.
If you're going to be coming to Williams-Brice Stadium for the first time, I would suggest coming down 77 because that's going to put you on Bluff Road, and that's going to be the main corridor here to Williams-Brice Stadium. But as we see the games progress, we're going to see that the traffic flow is going to progress as well. But this first game is going to be a test for a lot of new people that's coming to the stadium, and we want motorists to be mindful of that and be prepared and leave early.
Officials also say to be mindful of pedestrians when driving to and from the big game. The NFL regular season kicks off tonight. Chris Collinsworth and Al Michaels will be your hosts right here on NBC. They've been preparing for tonight for several weeks and will bring insight into not just the first game, but a look at what you'll see throughout the entire season. The best players and the best broadcast team will have done their homework, and they're ready to bring the excitement to you. This season, NBC will broadcast 19 other primetime games, including 17 regular Sunday night games and 2 postseason games.
We at NBC, we have the opening game, and it's an honor to do it. We're excited, and we feel like we want to have a great broadcast, too. We're going to set the tempo for the whole league, and we're excited to be back in the regular season.
Now, WMBF sports reporter Damon Cutno joins us to get us ready for tonight's game.
Well, considering all the off, so they will slowly clear out. You notice the temperatures, though, only going to top out around 80 degrees and then beautiful weather early next week. You're only going to see morning time lows down into lower 60s. That's cooler than we've seen. In inland areas, still hot and humid through Saturday, but then drying out on Sunday. So Sunday's certainly looking a lot nicer. And then early next week, upper 50s for morning time lows. So a nice little taste of fall after the hot and humid weather we've seen.
Sounds good. And I wouldn't be a true Patriots fan if I didn't do this. Go Pats and have a great night. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back at 11.